everyone, you're watching Business Africa. My name is Asha Samput. Welcome to Yaoundé, Cameroon for this new edition of Business Africa. And this week we put the spotlight on the environment and sustainable mobility. Like every fortnight, you can win $150 in our Business Africa game. More details later, but first, today's top stories. Goodbye to diesel and generators. Solar panels make a triumphant arrival in Gabonese villages.
Le groupe électrogène nous revenait cher.
The generator was expensive because in terms of diesel, to run the structure, you need many liters.
Beaucoup de litres.
Reducing carbon emissions on the continent while reducing traffic jams. Kigali is testing the electric bike solution.
Gura Ride is a project which consists in reducing the number of people waiting during a long time for buses and which are quite expensive for some.
Djibouti is taking advantage of its exceptional geographical position on one of the world's busiest sea lanes to pursue its development strategy around major infrastructure projects.
There will be a cement plant, an oil refinery, a ship repair yard. So it's an area that covers 3,096 hectares.
A solar energy revolution is underway in Africa. The continent has been moving away from traditional fossil fuels and turning to renewable energy in recent years. More and more solar panels are bringing electricity to rural communities, transforming the lives of millions of households. This is the case in Gabon, where our correspondent Jean-Rovis Debani followed the technicians of Eco Gabon, a startup bringing this new infrastructure to villages.
In this dugout canoe lies the future. Solar kits imported from Asia are changing the lives of rural communities. Jeremy and his team travel to villages to install solar panels. Today they are on their way to visit a new client. Built on the banks of the river Ogooué, this hotel complex was previously powered by diesel. Today, powered by solar panels on the hotel roof, these lithium accumulators linked to these boxes will allow a 52-inch plasma television, freezers, and even a 2-horsepower air conditioner. All day long, the solar panels store energy to produce light at night, light for progress, light for the future, light simply for cooking day and night.
We have a reservation of at least 40 people from the World Bank. They have gone on a trip to Ogooué and everything will be ready when they arrive. But thanks to solar, we can prepare before they arrive thanks to the light to put on music, power the projector, and solar fans. Thanks to solar. And frankly, it helps us at all levels. Right now I'm cooking a wild boar with sauce for the tourists who have gone for a walk. When they come back, everything will be ready. If we didn't have solar power, we would have to work in the shade, we would still have to use the generator and to spend money. Very expensive. Solar energy saves us money, especially on fuel for the generator, etc.
The idea to innovate came from this man. Few people like him are trying to conquer the solar market in the middle of the countryside. The costs and distances are too high. However, this did not discourage the accountant from turning to these small panels, which now change everything and save him from spending money on diesel.
Le groupe électrogène nous revenait.
The generator was expensive because in terms of diesel, to run the structure, you need many liters.
Cette structure, beaucoup de litres. Et nous avons pensé qu'avec l'énergie solaire, même si...
And we thought that with solar energy, even if the investment is heavy at the beginning, today, by using solar energy,
en utilisant les énergies solaires, nous avons moins de...
We have less expenses in terms of consumption and the cost of diesel.
Et du règlement du kérosène.
The installation of solar panels in rural areas has become the focus of the startup Eco Gabon, intending to promote ecological and responsible electricity production. In addition to being a decarbonated energy transmitted directly by the sun, it is a real alternative to traditional infrastructures.
We are a company that does not categorize customers. We aim to help all customers to make their homes self-sufficient with renewable energy, not only solar energy. Gabon does not only produce solar energy, but everything that is renewable energy by using all the natural resources that we have in our country, Gabon, produce efficient energy that can meet the needs of our customers.
The idea of bypassing traditional electricity grids is not new in Africa. In Gabon, gas-fired power plants are no longer sufficient to meet the growing electricity demand. About 40% of the country's electricity comes from hydroelectric and gas-fired plants. Insufficient, according to experts. This energy crisis is leading many households to turn to renewable energy for lighting.
Before we arrived, the client had an 80 kVA generator which was subject to many fuel purchases and maintenance expenses.
Oui, 80 kVA. Mais justement, était soumis à beaucoup de dépenses pour l'achat du carburant et de la maintenance.
As you can see, we're on a site that is quite remote, so moving a technician each time for the generator's maintenance was more expensive.
Revenait plus cher.
This is why he opted for renewable energy solutions such as solar energy to enable the site to be lit day and night by solar panels.
Gabon, a coastal country in Central Africa, benefits from 2,080 hours of sunshine per year. That is just over 68 hours of daylight per month, a real asset for the solar market.
Gabon is an ideal location for solar energy in many ways, especially its geographical location because, as you know, Gabon is located on the equatorial line and in the tropics, which makes it bathe in sunlight. It's naturally sunny and on a very large scale. It would be advantageous for Gabon to equip itself with large solar installations.
Universal access to modern energy is one of the sustainable development goals for the least developed countries. In Gabon, energy sources are mainly hydroelectric and geothermal. Their high costs are reflected in the monthly bills of consumers. Some Gabonese believe solar panels will eventually reduce electricity costs by almost half.
And precisely, these renewable energies continue to be debated on the continent. Should Africa move entirely towards green energy, or should it favor an energy mix that would guarantee all Africans access to electricity? Well, the president of Senegal, Macky Sall, current president of the African Union, has a clear opinion on the question. He gave it at the Africa Adaptation Climate Summit held this month in Rotterdam. Take a listen.
So what would be equitable is for Africa to continue its adaptation efforts if it receives a financing, but as part of a strategy for a diversified energy mix, a mix which would allow us to have a base load like in other countries. We need a basic energy that helps us to support our economies. We cannot leave Africa to have only renewable energies. No country has managed to develop with only renewable energies. We need to accept to support us to have an energy mix that enables us to have a base load that permits us to have cheap and competitive energy. And of course, we need as much renewable energy as possible within this mix, and we are working on this at the moment.
And the climate cause in Africa did progress at the Rotterdam summit about 2 months before COP27, which will take place for the first time in Africa in the Egyptian city of Sharm el-Sheikh. African leaders expressed their disappointment about the absence of their Western counterparts in Rotterdam. In these conditions, to mention the non-payment of the $100 billion per year by 2020 promised by the Western states at COP15 to help developing countries adapt their economies to climate change. One good news, though, in Rotterdam, donor countries announced 55 million euros in new contributions to the Africa Adaptation Acceleration Program, which began in 2021. As I mentioned earlier, I'm joining you from Yaoundé, where the Moving On event is being held, the first global ecosystem of co-innovation for sustainable mobility created in 2017. It now brings together over 300 private and public organizations. The aim is obviously to propel sustainable mobility initiatives, particularly in Africa, where countries are trying out alternatives to solve two problems at once: pollution and traffic jams. This is the case in Kigali. The Rwandan capital now has a new means of self-service electric bicycle transport. Take a look.
Kigali, the capital of Rwanda, is a city in continuous transformation. Its metamorphosis has generated a constant stream of new arrivals. The rapid growth of the population has today become a considerable challenge when it comes to traffic, with constant gridlocks in the city. Buses, motorbikes and taxis are the usual means of transport for most city dwellers. Cycling has not really caught on among the Kigalians. Now though, Gura Ride, a local startup, has been offering an alternative way of getting around.
Gura Ride is a project which consists in reducing the number of people waiting during a long time for buses, and which are quite expensive for some.
The Public Transport Initiative for Self-Service Electric Bicycles has received the green light from the Kigali city authorities. Created in 2017, Gura Ride's ambition is to make the bicycle a new and affordable means of transportation for everyone.
We chose Rwanda because the infrastructure of the country's cities is very favorable for bicycle transports. Plus, the townspeople walk around a lot, so it was a sign that they would like to do their shopping by bike rather than on foot.
City bicycles, a successful concept from the West, are now being imported to the land of 1,000 hills. Since its launch, 12 parking points, like this one, have been set up in crossroads in the capital. First-time users must first download the Gura Ride app to benefit from 2 months of free rides, and many already love the concept. I've heard of these bikes. I gave it a try today and liked it. Not only its agility, but also the fact that I can use it to run errands without a problem. It's a significant improvement. Each bike comes with an electronic lock that can only be opened if you have a valid subscription on the dedicated mobile app. After completing their journey, the user will park the bicycle at the station nearest their destination, ready for the next users to take their turn.
At all bicycle parking points, users register in the notebook by presenting their identities and telephone numbers. Our colleagues in vests explain how to proceed, starting with downloading the app needed to enjoy 2 free months and how to create an account, where are the bike lanes and traffic areas.
Since Rwanda has plenty of mountains and hills and most of the population lives at mid-altitude, Gura Ride has tested several prototype bikes to decide which 2 models were best suited to the terrain.
We have 2 types of bikes, one with chain, the other electric. As you pedal, the battery recharges. This is in our agenda contribution to protect the environment from pollution. So Gura Ride bikes are eco-friendly.
The bikes are decorated in green, yellow and blue, the national colours of Rwanda. Some youngsters are already regular cyclists. Simbi Adelaide, a resident of the capital, recognises the difference, however, between a normal bike and that of Gura Ride.
The difference is that the bicycle known to all requires a lot of force to pedal. But with the one from Gura Ride, I'm comfortable. Because of its elegance on my journey, everyone contemplates it.
Behind this startup is Umuhoza Pamela Ella, who heads a group of young people who manage the bicycles from a distance. They can track customer journeys in real time to prevent damage or theft. Guru-Ride bikes are imported as separate pieces and are put together at the startup's assembly and repair shop. Donat is one of the technicians in charge of putting all the parts together, ready for a test ride. He and his colleague can assemble a bike in about 25 minutes and are also trained in maintenance. This is where we do assembly and maintenance. We've been trained and we're ready to intervene at any time. Since not everybody cycles in the same way, I think a flat tyre was our worst nightmare. But our tyres are puncture-proof. Given the quality of our bikes, regular maintenance is only needed every 3 weeks. Guru-Ride is working with authorities from Kigali and other districts of Rwanda to place parking stations in several neighborhoods. The price will vary between 100 and 200 Rwandan francs per trip. Guru-Ride has so far invested in the manufacture of over 100 bicycles. Today, 80 are in use in the capital, and more will soon circulate across the country as well.
Welcome to the second part of our show. Will West African gas flow to Europe as early as next year? The scenario is no longer fictional thanks to the Great Amehin Turtle site, a 4.8 billion liquefied natural gas project split between Senegal and Mauritania. The first phase of operation envisages production of 2.5 million tons of LNG per year, which could reach Europe by LNG tanker in 3 to 4 days. Advanced negotiations are underway with several European countries. Zambia, which has just received $1.3 billion in emergency aid from the IMF, the International Monetary Fund, wants to restructure its private debt. The country, which has been in default since 2020, needs to restructure $8.4 billion and will begin negotiations with its private creditors. Its external debt reached more than $17 billion last year. And Africa is looking towards the Caribbean. The Pan-African financial institution Afreximbank will invest $700 million in an office in the region and develop commercial ties, what has been up to now quite modest. A Caribbean subsidiary of the institution is even underway. The ultimate goal is to boost trade flows, transport and tourism. The focus now is on a country trying to achieve the perfect symbiosis between commercial, industrial, logistics and tourist developments. Djibouti, located in the Horn of Africa, is deploying a major strategy to position itself as a gateway to the landlocked countries of the continent's interior. We had been there to explore this potential. Take a look.
A map and great expectations. Numerous large-scale projects are shaping the future of Djibouti, a country that plans to use its exceptional geographical position close to one of the world's busiest shipping lanes, become one of the world's largest ports. This office at the Ministry of Energy is responsible for drawing up one of the most significant projects for the growth of the country, a 749-kilometre pipeline stretching from Ethiopia to the coast of Djibouti.
The gas comes from the Somalian region of Ethiopia, in southeastern Ethiopia, in the Ogaden basins. It will be extracted and then it will be transported by Ogaden gas pipeline to Damojog through the old railway line. It will cross near the town of Ali Sabie from Holhol to reach Damojog, which is located in the south of Djibouti.
It's expected the $4 billion program will mean up to 12 billion cubic meters of natural gas a year will be flowing through the pipeline by 2021.
In Damojog, we will have a liquefaction plant that will process and liquefy natural gas for exportation to foreign markets.
Authorities in Djibouti predict the substantial economic benefits from the project will result in more jobs and more transit income from the gas. The new Damojog area is being developed to become a major industrial hub.
Nous espérons développer d'autres industries, par exemple
We hope to develop other industries, such as oil storage, a refinery,
des usines métallurgiques, mais aussi
metallurgical plants, and various other industries that will emerge during the second phase of construction at the new port at Dorale, the DMP. Basically, a master plan already exists to accommodate all these industries in the area of Damerjog. There will be a cement plant, an oil refinery, a ship repair yard, so it's an area that covers 3,096 hectares.
An industrial area that will enhance the international free zone. This area, which specializes in logistics, trade and light industry, currently offers up to 140 hectares of facilities to some 30 foreign companies. The area could expand to over 40 square kilometers in the future. Road transport capacity improvement is underway, with several new routes being completed. Djibouti is also working on the renovation and extension of its airport facility.
The airport will be extended to accommodate the increased traffic that we intend to attract.
Ce trafic que nous comptons donc capter, et en attendant que un autre aéroport.
And will serve until a new international airport can be built not far from the present airport.
De cet aéroport actuel.
Within a few years, visitors could arrive in a totally unrecognizable capital city. There are plans to completely renovate the coastline to create a major business center, a marina for pleasure boats and cruise ships, as well as to build twin towers to accommodate company offices. This transformation is in parallel to an expansion in the number of hotels, which are too few at present to accommodate the growing number of international businessmen and in particular tourists, underlined by Djibouti being crowned the world capital of tourism in 2018.
The government wants to attract 500,000 tourists to Djibouti over the coming year, and is encouraging the construction of new hotels to increase the number of rooms in the country. Other hotels, other international hotel chains like Holiday Inn, are interested in setting up in Djibouti.
International groups have expressed interest in projects in both the capital and the coastline, one of the country's main tourist attractions. The proposals are not necessarily luxury projects to appeal to foreign tourists, but focus rather more on the sort of hospitality and authenticity much sought after by eco-tourism enthusiasts, as here in this camp of 15 huts about 30 kilometers from the city of Obok.
Les touristes aiment bien les choses anciennes.
Tourists like old things, so here it's like being in the bush. In fact, they are in the bush, no luxury, just like how people used to live in the past. That's what they like.
C'est ça qui le plaît.
According to official figures, 73,000 people visited Djibouti in 2014. Today, the government wants to attract 500,000 tourists, half of them from Asia, by 2030. It hopes to see the sector contribute 15% to the GDP by 2035, as against just 2% in 2016, and provide many new jobs too. The development of regional centres aimed at spreading economic growth throughout the country will play an important role in this plan, such as the Arta region becoming a tourism hub. Internationally renowned for its diving and whale shark colony, the area relies on its natural treasures, such as Lake Assal, to draw a growing number of travellers attracted by destinations that are still relatively unexplored. From industry to shipping, trade and tourism, construction sites represent the ambition and vision that Djibouti is resolutely pursuing to become one of the world's key geostrategic players. The country certainly has the means to meet the challenges it has set itself. It must, however, take care to preserve its political stability and balance its own interests with the sometimes differing interest of its financial partners.
Well, it's now time to reward our loyal viewers of Business Africa. It's up to you to answer to the following questions. If you are drawn among those who have given the correct answers, you will win $150. This is game number 585, so listen carefully to the two questions that follow, and good luck. First question, where do Eco-Gabon solar panels come from? South Africa, Europe, or Asia? Second question, what does the startup Gura Ride rent? Trucks, houses, bicycles? You know the answers. You can participate now by going to our website africaonair.com. In the replay section, answer the questions, fill out your form, and good luck. And of course, don't forget to include your contact details, name, address, telephone, email, and the answers, of course. Check out the terms and conditions in our replay section on our news website, africaonair.com. The winner will receive $150 as our winner this week. Congratulations, you gave the correct answers to our previous game. Here are the details. First question, what is the usual price of fertilizer in Guinea? Answer, $10 per bag. Second question, how many visitors were there at the last edition of the Parakou Fair? The answer, 20,000. Well, that's it. Business Africa is over for today. I'll see you next week, same time, same channel. For Initiative Africa, I will be hosting the Cameroonian lawyer and defender of homosexual rights, Alice Nkom. In the meantime, you can watch the show again on our news website, africaonair.com, and follow us on all our social media. Feel free to share, like, and comment using the hashtag Business Africa. Take care of yourselves and see you next week. Goodbye.